let's assume that the WGAN-TV audience members are Matterport service providers that are not technical, MSPs that may be talking with architects, engineers, and construction professionals, and that this topic may sound a little bit like a foreign language that needs translation into super simple English. So, RJ, I'm going to ask you a simple question. Can the Matterport Pro3 camera be used for as-builts?
Well, not simple question. There are
simple question to ask.
There are applications where it can fill a need. Matterport service providers traditionally captured from showcase photogrammetry reel perspective, and fully aware that Matterport providers are entering the industry. The one big caveat I will say is when you're capturing for geometry, your principles of how you're capturing a space are completely different than capturing for a nice visual tour. The requirements are very different. Matterport, as one instance, and then I'll pass it off, says to scan each side of a doorway and never to scan the center of a doorway. When you need geometry in your data, you absolutely need the center of every threshold, and you need more stations, not from a visual perspective, but from a geometry perspective. So there's a big caveat on how they use their camera.
Well, first, why don't you talk to us about what as-built means to you? And then I want to then re-ask that question. Can the Matterport Pro3 camera be used for as-builts?
As-builts can be a broad spectrum. And this is where definition comes in hard, because we can be as-builting a building. I'm doing one right now from commercial use going to residential. We need to be able to locate every pipe in that building to within 10 millimeters. A Matterport will never achieve that. Now, if I'm looking for floorboard and wallboard estimates, yes, it fulfills that need. So the level of accuracy is going to really dictate how far you can go.
John?
Yeah, I mean, the Matterport is a tool in our toolbox. So each tool has a purpose. Some tools are really good at one thing and not so at another. You know, I think we're all aware, you know, how amazing the Matterport imagery is. The point cloud data that you can get out of it isn't as good. That's why, you know, when we're doing measurements, we typically prefer to use a traditional, you know, laser scanner, like a tripod-based scanner. But there's a lot of uses, and I always say intent defines process. So once you know the intent of what you're trying to do, then you can come up with the process, select the right tools to achieve that.
What would be the intents that would enable a MSP to use a Pro3?
For an as-built?
Yes.
For an as-built, you know, I guess if it's kind of like what Richard was saying, you know, if you're going to go in and you want to get pipes and things that have maybe a tighter tolerance, it's probably not the best tool. If you're going in to do something maybe more for, you know, preliminary design, something where the tolerances aren't as critical, then it might be a reasonable tool to use. You can also use it in conjunction with a laser scanner. And for example, we like to use it that way where we get good high quality measurements from the laser scanner, but we use the high quality imagery from the Matterport so that we can be watching that as we're modeling things from the point cloud data. So it's still a very useful tool for us, but we're leveraging what it's really good at versus maybe what it's not as good at.